Hi there, it's Stephen D here, and today I want to discuss the incidents that have been going on in Charlotte regarding the murder or death, shooting, however you want to phrase it, of Keith Lamont Scott, African American man who was killed by Charlotte police officers. It's resulted in demonstrations and what the media is calling riots the last several days in Charlotte. Governors called out the National Guard, declared a state of emergency. Okay, so what do we know about this shooting, this death of Keith Lamont Scott at the hands of police officers? Well, here's the official story by the police that has evolved over several days. They say that they were there at that area trying to find some other criminal they had a warrant out on. One of them was an undercover police officer, and they saw Mr. Scott get out of the car with a gun, the car that he was sitting in. Then he got back in the car, so then they approached the car. Now it's a little unclear here because the story's changed at several times. One time they tell you he got out of the car again with a gun, and they told him to, put the gun down, and he didn't, and they had to shoot him because he was an imminent threat. Other times they say that he got out only after they approached the car with the gun. But in both cases, whatever the truth of the matter is, they say that they shot it numerous times, dropped the gun, and that he didn't. And so they had to shoot him because he was an imminent threat. And that's what their own police officer says. We also know there's video of this, shooting. We don't know what the video shows because, again, the chief of police refuses to release the video. And his excuse is that there's state law that prohibits him from doing so. Well, there will be a state law that will prohibit him from doing so that comes into effect October 1st. But there's no law specifically on the books that says that, he can't release the video. And that's according to the ACLU. The police department came back after the ACLU demanded he release video and said that there is no law. I said, well, there is a law that says, you may release video with a court order. So we're not sure what that means, but we're interpreting it to mean we can't release it. But that's only in the case of a criminal investigation. So who are they criminally investigating? Are they criminally investigating Mr. Scott, who's dead? Doesn't seem very likely. They can't charge him with anything, so why would they not, release the evidence at this point? Are they investigating the officers or the officer who shot and killed Mr. Scott? Well, if they are, they ought to say so, but they haven't said that. We don't know what they're doing with that officer, other than he's been put on, suspension with full, leave with full pay, as is standard practice whenever you murder somebody with a gun and you're a police officer. Or, shoot somebody with a gun. So that's their story. Their story is that this African American man, who wasn't wanted for any crimes, just happened to be in a place where they were there looking for somebody who was suspected of being a crime, got out of his car with his gun, got back in the car. When they approached him, he got out of the car again, refused to, drop the gun, and they had to shoot him. All right? And there's some video of this incident that won't be released. That, they say, shows that justifies that it was, a justified killing. Okay, let's look at that piece by piece. What's the first thing that's a problem you have there? Okay, First thing I have is, why would somebody get out of their car with a gun, see cops, get back in the car, and then come out of the car with a gun after the police approach him? Unless they're claiming he's wanted to commit suicide by cop. Now his family has a different story. His family says he sat there every day waiting, and this is supported by other neighbors and other people who were neighbors in the neighborhood, say that he sat there every day with his car reading a book, waiting for his son to get home from school. So that story makes sense to me. That's why he'd be there. But obviously he had a gun too. And obviously he felt the need, according to the police, to not only get out of the car with the gun, but refuse their orders, their numerous orders to drop the gun before he was shot. Okay. Well, if that's all there was, there's really no way to know the truth, right? Except we've had the police chief, his name is Putney, speak about this videos he's seen. Okay, here's what he's told us about those videos. One, the officer who shot Keith Lamont Scott was not wearing a body cam. That was the undercover officer. The other videos, he claims, don't show the entirety of the situation, but that there was numerous demands made for Scott to drop the weapon, but it happened all in a matter of seconds. Okay, so how much time did they give him after? I mean, numerous demands to me means you're sitting there saying, drop your weapon, drop your weapon, drop your weapon, drop your weapon or we'll shoot. Now, no one has said he pointed the gun at anybody. That has not been a statement that's been issued by the police. So if he had a gun, why did they shoot him? Unless he was pointing the gun at them, threatening them intentionally. And why did that shooting occur seconds after these, quote, numerous warnings? And why wasn't the officer who killed him wearing a body cam? Interesting, huh? They've also been a release of a photograph by a supposed witness. This is after the murder, or after what I'm calling a murder. You can call it a justified killing if you like. And after that, there's a picture of police officers, bending over the body of what we presume is Mr. Scott. There's a little oval that kind of, fuzzes up the area so you can't really tell if it's Mr. Scott or not. And they claim, and then behind those officers is a dark object, which they're claiming is a gun, which shows that he had a gun. Well, one, I have no idea when this picture was taken. Two, I've got the link to where you can go to see that picture. It'll be right below here in the description of this video. And you can go there and look at it. And I dare you to tell me you can tell whether that's a gun or not. I have looked at it numerous times. I've zoomed in on the image as well as I can. It was taken by, looks like a mobile device, a mobile phone probably. And I can't tell it's a gun. It's a blurry, dark image. Could be anything. But maybe there are experts out there who can, who can identify it. Maybe they can even tell us what kind of gun it is. Doesn't look to be a very big object. It's not that close to Mr. Scott's body. It's obviously because it's behind where the two officers are kneeling over him. It's hard to judge exactly how far away from his body it is, but it's not close. So that's what we have. And let me reiterate this. We've got video evidence of what happened. However, we have the police chief saying he can't release that video evidence because of state law. We have the ACLU disagreeing with him. We have a picture of what some people claim is a gun that was found at the scene, according to the police. We have his family story, which says he sat there every day with a book, reading a book, waiting for to pick up his son. And we have the police story, which says man with gun gets out of car, gets back in car, gets out of car when police approach, and shoots them. And I want to ask you that if you're a rational person, does that story make sense to you? That a black man with a gun would get out of his car, who wasn't wanted for anything, wasn't under suspicion, and would, then place these officers in such imminent danger that they had to shoot him right away, within seconds after him getting out of the car, after them having made numerous demands that he drop the gun, of course. But yet there's no actual video that shows him holding the gun. I mean, the absurdity of this, it's just beyond. Recently there was another case in Tulsa where a man, Mr. Terrence Crutcher, whose car broke down on the road, was shot and killed by a police officer. And we had, not only shot and killed, but he also was tased. And the police immediately released the video. Immediately. Now, I'm not saying that the Tulsa, chief of police is more upstanding or, doing a better job than a Charlotte police officer, but, they released that evidence showing exactly what happened to Mr. Crutcher. And it's damning video of Mr. Crutcher. Mr. Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is shown walking slowly away from the police, hands in the air, the police following him, getting over next to his car, his hands still up in the air, right next to the car, and the next thing you see is, or you hear, is, him being tased and shot. So, what happened in Tulsa? Well, there weren't any riots in Tulsa. Gosh, I wonder why. So, whatever's on that video, if it shows that the police were justified in what they did, then, police chief in Charlotte can release that video. Should release that video if he wants to calm the community down. If he wants to be transparent. Instead, they're making the argument that it would be less transparent to release the video, which is fucking nuts. Yeah, it would be less transparent to release the video. They haven't, they still haven't claimed he was pointing the video at them, a gun at them, only that he had a gun. They haven't claimed that, they have claimed that they were in imminent danger. They claimed they made numerous demands. He dropped the gun, which happened in a few seconds, obviously, because he was shot in a few seconds, according to the chief of police, who has seen what video evidence there is and has commented on it, but doesn't think it's important enough or would be helpful to release that video. Well, it helped in Tulsa when they released the video, because even though that video was very damning to the police officers who shot and killed Terrence Crutcher, there hasn't been the same outrage in the community. There haven't been demonstrations and protests and, quote, riots occurring in Tulsa. So, why not? Why not release the video? Why not, Chief Putney? Why haven't you released the video? Release it. Let people make their own minds up. It just might calm the community down a little. Some other things that might calm the community down a little besides releasing that video? Having the state appoint an independent prosecutor or investigator to look into what occurred You know, instead of having this story play out in the media with the police making their arguments and claiming their video shows that they were right, and the victim's family claiming no, these are lies. And it's not like we haven't seen police ever lie before and been caught on video about their lies, have we? So, maybe, just maybe, Charlotte Police Department should release that damn video. Actually, take away the maybes. Release the damn video, Charlotte Police Department. Let the public know what you have available. Produce the gun you found. Show that it belonged to Mr. Show some way, some manner to tie it to Mr. The now deceased Keith Lamont Scott. Do that, and maybe people will start to have a little more trust in what you're telling us. At this point, there's no reason to trust the police. We've seen this story over and over and over again. You know, Tamir Rice, little boy with, air gun, gets killed. And the story was allegedly that they claimed the video showed they made numerous demands that he drop his gun and that he reached for his gun in his pocket. And when we did see the video, what happened? There weren't any numerous demands. There wasn't anything but a cop jumping out of a police car that rolled right up to this kid, and jumped out and shot him in cold blood. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem here. Maybe the video shows things they don't want you to know. I don't know. But in Tulsa, the video showed things that I'm sure the police didn't want, the community to know. That Mr. Crutcher was walking away with his hands, slowly away from the police, with his hands over his head, apparently obeying orders by the police before he was shot. So, release the damn video. Or suffer the consequences of a community that doesn't trust you, doesn't trust your police force, doesn't trust the justice system. And who can blame them? Stephen D. signing off. Take care, everybody. Bye.